And breaking news as we come on the air tonight, a live look right now. This is a neighborhood in Drexel. Deputies were on the scene just moments ago as they had tips of potential human remains in this area. A cadaver dog was on site, but no remains have been found. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office released a statement saying in part, quote, "No body has been found at this time, but we are committed to fully investigating any tips and exhausting all means necessary to follow up on any credible information. As soon as we learn more, of course, we'll update you on air and online." And we are continuing tonight to track the impacts of Helene in the south and even here in the Miami Valley. AES Ohio now reporting Hurricane Helene caused more than 130,000 customers in our region to lose power. Now they've been able to restore power to the vast majority of those homes. In fact, a live look at that outage map here behind me has about 700 customers in the dark tonight. Eli Burkett had the chance to speak to some of those residents. So Eli, what can you tell us?
Well, as of this morning, AES Ohio has restored power to over 99% of customers in our region. But the problem is that 1% that has not been restored has been living without power for the past 6 days. Today, I checked in with neighbors in Kettering to see who's in the dark.
I miss the small comforts that you have when you have electricity. I mean, until you're sitting in the dark for almost a week.
Kettering resident Judy Meyer tells me that she, along with many of her neighbors, lost power during the Hurricane Helene storms over the weekend. 6 days later, AES Ohio has still not restored power to their homes. Residents were told that AES will not be able to turn the electricity back on until they clean up a transformer oil leak around the damaged area. I reached out to AES several times today, and they tell me that they have surveyed the damage in the area, and they will address the issue further in the future. But at this time, they have not provided a timeline for when power will be restored to all of the Miami Valley. Back to you.
We now know tonight the death toll of Helene has now risen to at least 180 people, with thousands of people still missing. Locals are volunteering to help search. In Buncombe County, North Carolina, groups are meeting in front of the county record office to get their assignments. At last count, the Register of Deeds office had 12,000 requests to register a loved one they haven't been able to reach, with 1,000 cases resolved so far. Volunteers say it's important work, but they're a little nervous about what they may find.
We don't really know what we could be encountering. You know, there could be people loss of life, people that are in emergency situations. Just coming into this with really, a lot of awareness about that.
Volunteer organizers say cell phone service has been down for many people, which could account for the big part of the total. President Biden is sending 1,000 troops to the areas that were gutted by Helene. And the victims of Hurricane Helene need our help. Dayton 24/7 now partnering with the Salvation Army and our parent company for Sinclair Care's Hurricane Helene relief to help with the humanitarian relief efforts in western North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Virginia, and Tennessee. Funds raised will go to emergency aid, including clean water, food, and cleanup kits. Head to sinclaircares.com or scan the QR code on your screen right now to make a donation. And a live look, it is a beautiful day out there. Live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. Let's send it out to Chief Meteorologist Natalie Walters.
Well, nice fall-like day out here on our Watson's weather patio. One thing I noticed from that shot was the grass being green, finally, after the rain that we've received over the past week or so. No rain across the area today. In fact, as you saw, blue skies, and it's going to be a clear night tonight as well. Currently, we have temperatures that are hanging out in the 60s and 70s, 71 in Dayton. We have 75 in Springboro, 73 in Sydney right now. So feeling pretty nice. All of us cooler compared to this time yesterday, 4 degrees cooler in Dayton, but it's going to get pretty chilly tonight. Lows tonight, they're going to be dropping into the 40s. So lower 50s, upper 40s as you wake up early tomorrow. So you'll be needing a light jacket or a sweater. But coming up, I'll let you know how long this nice fall-like weather will stick around.
October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and today local agencies announced they're banding together to help victims here in the Miami Valley. Lydia Bice spoke to local officials today. So Lydia, how exactly are they saying they're planning to help?
So the Dayton Police Department and Montgomery County Prosecutor's Office are collaborating for the second annual Project Comfort. This is the drive where we can all donate hats, gloves, socks, and coats to domestic violence victims and their children, as winter is right around the corner.
What we have seen, especially during COVID, when everybody had to stay in the houses, they couldn't get outside, we saw a big uptick in domestic violence cases.
Now that uptick is why local agencies are banding together for Project Comfort. The drive runs from October 2nd to October 24th since this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but also because victims often have trouble leaving their abusers during the winter because of the holidays. Now the full list of donation locations is in the web version of this story on Dayton247now.com, but you can also see some right here on this map, including all Dayton police stations, City Hall, and recreation centers like Lori. Back to you.
We're continuing to follow news out of the Middle East tonight. President Biden and other G7 leaders will sanction Iran for its attack this week on Israel. Our Kayla Gaskins joins us with more on the rising tensions in the Middle East.
Israel promising significant retaliation after Iran launched nearly 200 missiles into Israel on Tuesday. John Spencer, chair of urban warfare studies at West Point, says Israel has to respond.
There has to be severe consequences, or you basically establish a new standard where the Islamic regime in Iran thinks it can attack Israel at will whenever it wants.
Meanwhile, more IDF ground troops headed to Lebanon to fight Iranian proxy and U.S. designated terror group Hezbollah. We were at the Israel-Lebanon border 2 weeks ago as part of a delegation organized by the nonprofit American Middle East Press Association. Hezbollah started launching rockets into northern Israel the day after the October 7th attack in solidarity with Hamas. Since then, there's been near daily exchanges of rocket fire. This fighting forcing tens of thousands to evacuate their homes along both sides of the border.
I want to go back home. Everyone wants to go back home.
The Lebanon invasion spurred by mounting political pressure within Israel to secure this border so civilians can return home.
And that was Kayla Gaskins reporting back here in the Miami Valley. Congressman Mike Turner announced the venues for next year's NATO Parliamentary Assembly. The Schuster Center, Victoria Theater, and CareSource will each be featured as locations for the assembly sessions. Now, the assembly was announced to be hosted in Dayton earlier this year to line up with the 30th anniversary of the Dayton Peace Accords.
We want to show them Main Street USA for NATO PA. It is our intention to show off our town. 30 years ago, the international community turned its eyes to Dayton as the Dayton Peace Accords were negotiated here. They're going to once again turn their eyes here as we do the retrospective, the reflecting on the Dayton Peace Accords. And we're going to be very proud to show them what we have done in Dayton over the last 30 years.
Congressman Turner said the delegates will also visit Wright-Patterson Air Force Base to see the work done there. And last night was the very first and only vice presidential candidate debate ahead of the November election. The biggest topics of that debate included gun violence, immigration, abortion, and the economy. When it comes to school shootings and gun safety, both vice presidential candidates condemned gun violence. They both agreed we, as a country, need to do better for our children. Vance says open border policies are a big part of the blame. Walz says Kamala Harris are gun owners who do not want to take away people's rights, but there needs to be limitations.
We've seen a massive influx in the number of illegal guns run by the Mexican drug cartels. So that number, the amount of illegal guns in our country is higher today than it was 3.5 years ago.
There are reasonable things that we can do to make a difference. It's not infringing on your Second Amendment. And the idea to have some of these weapons out there, it just doesn't make any sense.
Now, the Harris-Walz campaign policy on gun control includes banning assault weapons and high-capacity magazines, along with a universal background check requirement. On the debate stage, Vance advocated for more security at schools, a more empowered law enforcement, and for more mental health resources to be available. When it comes to abortion, the two candidates also have differing approaches on handling the issue.
Let voters make these decisions. Let the individual states make their abortion policy.
We have seen maternal mortality skyrocket in Texas, outpacing many other countries in the world. This is about health care.
Abortion is one of the key issues in 2024 election, as this is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. Also a discussion on the debate floor, housing. Housing and rent costs have seen a rise in the past few years as Ohio has seen a decline in home ownership. Lisa Rantala takes a deeper look, at each of the parties' plan for a solution.
VP candidate Tim Walz on the Democratic ticket says more people will have homes when there's more supply.
As far as the housing goes, I've seen it in Minnesota. 12% more houses in Minneapolis. Prices went down on rent 4%. It's working.
Walz and presidential candidate Kamala Harris are campaigning on adding 3 million homes to the 4 million shortfall in the U.S. They're also announcing new tax credits for affordable housing builders and down payment assistance.
What evidence do you have that migrants are part of this problem?
Well, there's a Federal Reserve study that we're happy to share after the debate. We'll put it up on social media, actually.
On X, this tweet by Senator Vance after the debate, stating new immigrants to some geographic areas could result in upward pressure on rents. He and running mate Donald Trump are looking to earmark federal lands to build, reduce regulation, and embark on a massive deportation of undocumented immigrants.
A new rule could change how you drop off absentee ballots, why it's sparking a legal battle, and what it means for voters. The Bengals getting some key players back on the field ahead of their big matchup against the Ravens, how they're gearing up for this divisional battle.
Plus, I'm tracking some more fall-like weather across the Miami Valley. How much longer this will stick around for us, that's coming up. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Good Day Dayton, weekdays at 10 a.m.
And Delia.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Running water, cell service, and power are all very much in need across areas hit hard by Helene. It could take weeks before water service is fully restored in Asheville. Power restoration could take just as long, as many substations were flooded. And cell companies are repairing toppled towers while setting up portable Wi-Fi vehicles to help people cut off from all communications.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on TikTok.
The Ohio Democratic Party and 2 voters are suing Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose. They're against his recent directive keeping people from using unmanned drop-off boxes if they're dropping off an absentee ballot for another person. Chelsea Sick is in Norwood with the details on the lawsuit.
Well, this is really the issue the Ohio Democratic Party has with this new directive. Here on the side of each county board of election drop box, they have this sign that says, warning, this drop box may only be used to return your personal ballot. In the past, if you were dropping off an absentee ballot for another person, you could just throw it in this 24/7 drop box. Now you have to wait until the Board of Elections is open, and that's because you now have to sign this form confirming you're a specific family member or someone designated by that voter to turn in their ballot. In this directive, LaRose says this is his attempt to prevent ballot harvesting or collecting absent voter ballots without accountability. In this new lawsuit, the Ohio Democratic Party says Frank LaRose is violating Ohio law and the Federal Voting Rights Act. They ask the Ohio Supreme Court to overturn LaRose's directive. The director of the Hamilton County Board of Elections says they are prepared to change course if the court orders it. Right now, all county board of elections are required to give this form to anyone who is bringing in an absentee ballot for another person, but how they hand these out is up to each individual county. Here in Hamilton County, they plan to have a drive-through, so if you do have to drop off an absentee ballot for another person, you will drive up, get this form, return it to the person that is there. They said they will have bipartisan election leaders at that drive-through, and then they will put that absentee ballot in a safe receptacle.
Well, quiet weather across the area, mostly clear skies, and we're going to continue to see quieter weather across the region with the front now off to the east. That has brought us some cooler weather, but believe it or not, another cold front is going to be swinging in. So high pressure keeping things nice and sunny next several days, but this cold front to our northwest will usher in some cooler air yet again for this weekend. Not going to be too chilly by any means, but we will see another drop in our temps. So tonight, upper 40s as you wake up early tomorrow morning, so we will feel a little bit of a chill. Heading into the afternoon, we'll see highs back up into the upper 70s. Close to 80 degrees tomorrow, but I think mid-upper 70s for the most part. And then Friday morning, not quite as cool. And in fact, I think we'll get right around 80 degrees. A few clouds streaming through with our cold front that will eventually bring some cooler air back in play as well. So temperature trend, we have another warm up on Sunday. This is with a cold front, which will also bring a chance for some showers. And then check out next week with those temperatures falling back into the 60s Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Mid to upper 60s in the forecast, which means our low temperatures, they'll be dropping back down into the 40s. So here's a look at that yard work forecast, because I know my yard looks like it needs to be mowed already. It went from brown to very green. So tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, looking great, but rain chances do arrive late into the day on Sunday. So we will be monitoring that. Have a look at our 7-day coming up here in just a bit.
Welcome into the Bob's Discount Furniture Sports Desk. Big announcements today by the NCAA. The University of Dayton will continue to host the First Four tournament through 2028 at UD Arena. Previously, it was guaranteed through 2026. Today's announcement will take the arena's tournament total past 150 games. The First Four has been hosted at UD since the start of the Division I men's basketball tournament back in 2001. UD held a news conference to explain the impact this will have on the city.
Over the past couple of years, it's over a $5 million economic impact to the area. So it's no small event, and doing that. Again, you got 8 teams that come in here for a short period of time, and fans at short notice, coming in. But we have a strong local base, and then those that come from outside annually, and then those that come from each school participating.
UD also put in a bid for the hosting and first of the second of the first and second rounds, but that did not go through. DeBolt says he's just happy to continue building their relationship with the Athletic Association. And the Bengals are back in the jungle on Sunday, looking to build off their first win of the season in their first division game. Yanni Tregellis is here with whether they're going to get some help from some key players recovering from injuries.
Some key players back on the field today for the first practice of the week. Trey Hendrickson in pads after suffering a stinger at Carolina on Sunday. Now, he was listed as a limited participant, but we saw him looking at full speed as he participated in some individual drills at practice. And that's good news for the Bengals, getting healthy at the right time with Baltimore coming to town. Now, some other returners to the practice field as well, including Miles Murphy and McKinley Jackson. Both of them had their 21-day practice window opened off of the injured reserve today, and they were both listed as full participants. Now, as the defense looks to get healthy and improve, the offense is hoping to keep rolling after a successful past few weeks.
Paramount. You have to. Otherwise, they're just going to eat the clock up, run the ball. We know how well they run it, so we have to start fast and give ourselves as many opportunities as we can.
Zach Taylor also talked about the first divisional battle of the season today. He knows how important it is to be the more physical team against a team like Baltimore, something he said he didn't understand in his first few years as a head coach, but will look to set the tone early.
Each week, we highlight a local matchup between schools across the Miami Valley. Tomorrow, our crews are going to be out at Preble Shawnee as they take on Tri-County North. We're going to be broadcasting that game, of course, over on MyTV Dayton. That's 22.3 over the air, Spectrum Channel 24. We'll also catch you up on the best plays that night right here at Dayton 24/7 Now. We'll be right back. You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now.
Inflation is killing Ohio.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Well, weather's shaping up nicely for not just the rest of this evening, but for tomorrow as well. Kids heading out to the bus stop, we'll be dealing with some patchy fog in the morning, and it's going to be chilly, upper 40s in the forecast. So heading out and about, plan on a little fog as well as needing a light sweater or a jacket. But we actually warm up more tomorrow compared to today, with temperatures climbing back up into those mid, maybe even some upper 70s, close to 80 on Friday. And then this weekend's looking good. So showers arriving late into the day on Sunday. This is with a cold front, and then